What if I told you that a piece of molded plastic or a simple board game was the key to childhood happiness in the 1970s? Christmas mornings were spent in anticipation, with wide-eyed kids tearing into shiny wrapping paper hoping to find that perfect toy. Today, we're traveling back in time to uncover the top toys of the 1970s. Those magical, must-have treasures that every kid had on their Christmas list. And make sure you stick around because later in this video, we'll reveal the ultimate top-selling toy of the entire decade. Trust me, you won't want to miss it. Let's dive into this retro ride through memory lane. 1970, the dawn of a new decade. Bell-bottoms were getting wider, and the Bee Gees were taking over the radio. But what did every boy and girl want for Christmas? For the boys, it was Nerf balls. The world's first indoor-friendly ball. Because, let's face it, every parent was tired of windows shattering and mom's flower vase meeting an untimely end. The Nerf ball was marketed as the world's first official indoor ball, and, true to its promise, it bounced but didn't break anything. Well, except maybe a few sibling rivalries. For the girls of 1970, there was Chrissy Doll. But not just any doll, this one had a special trick up her sleeve, or rather, her scalp. Chrissy could grow hair with just a tug. One minute she had a sleek bob, the next she sported long, flowing locks. It was like having your own mini hairstylist experience without the mess of cutting and regretting. 1971 brought us something that made boys feel like true American heroes. G.I. Joe Adventure Team. These weren't just action figures. They were rugged explorers, ready for jungle missions and desert rescues. They came with gripping hands, because you can't save the world without grabbing something. And for girls, the Easy Bake Oven. By 1971, it had evolved, and it was hotter than ever, literally. Powered by a light bulb, this oven promised pint-sized bakers that they could whip up a cake from scratch, well powder, in just 15 minutes. Sure, the cakes might have tasted like sweet, rubbery cardboard, but it was about the experience, right? 1972 switched gears with a game that brought families together for a laugh or a heated debate. Uno. The simple card game with its draw 4 threat was the source of joy and revenge. Oh, you skipped me last round. Draw 4 and suffer. Families still play it today. And if you've ever had a Uno showdown, you know it's serious business. For girls that year, Tressie was giving Chrissy some competition. Another hair-growing doll, Tressie continued the trend of stylish, customizable dolls. Hair in the 70s was big business, even if it was on plastic. 1973 brought boys the unforgettable stunt cycle. Inspired by the legendary Daredevil himself, this toy let kids recreate iconic motorcycle jumps and stunts right in their own living rooms. The set came with a wind-up launcher that sent the miniature stunt bike speeding across floors, launching off ramps and sometimes crashing into epic wipeouts. Kids would hold their breath as the stunt cycle soared through makeshift obstacle courses made of books, boxes, and anything else they could find. It was a toy that captured the thrill of danger, minus the broken bones. For the girls, it was all about Baby Alive. This was the doll that ate, drank, and well had realistic diaper situations. It was the perfect mix of nurturing fun and mild shock. Nothing said Merry Christmas like a doll that required cleanup duty. 1974 was the year of Dungeons and Dragons for boys. Sure, it was a board game, but it opened a world of fantasy, magic, and imagination that no one had seen before. Boys would huddle around tables, dice in hand, inventing stories that would live on in notebooks and whispered legends on the school playground. Meanwhile, girls fell head over heels for Barbie's townhouse. This 3-story plastic marvel meant Barbie could throw fabulous rooftop parties, live out her high-powered career woman dreams, or just hang out with Ken, who, let's face it, probably just showed up for the snacks. 1975 made boys feel like modern-day inventors with the pet rock. Yes, it was exactly what it sounds like. A rock in a box with breathing holes just in case you were worried. Low maintenance, no feeding needed, and still somehow a national craze. You know a toy's powerful when your parents are confused about why you want it. Girls were captivated by Holly Hobbie dolls. These cute bonnet-wearing fabric dolls were everything quaint and comforting that the 70s needed, a stark contrast to the bell-bottomed hustle outside. 1976 changed the toy landscape with the Stretch Armstrong doll. Boys everywhere tested the limits of Stretch's limbs, pulling and tugging until he resembled something out of a cartoon accident. Did he ever snap? Well, only if you had a particularly mischievous older brother. For the girls, Bionic Woman dolls became the rage. Inspired by the popular TV show, these dolls were built to be just as strong and groundbreaking as their real-life counterpart, with bionic limbs and powerful stories. 1977. A year that changed toy history forever. Star Wars action figures. Every boy needed them. Luke Skywalker, Darth Vader, Princess Leia. They all became icons of playtime. If you owned an original 1977 Star Wars figure today, you'd probably guard it like a crown jewel. Girls in 77. It was all about fashion plates. These kits let you create the trendiest outfits by mixing and matching etched plates and rubbing them with crayons. It was like a fashion designer's starter pack without needing a needle and thread. 1978 saw boys grabbing for Simon, an electronic game that tested memory with 4 colored buttons and a never-ending sequence. Kids would argue over who could beat Simon's challenge until the beeps echoed in their dreams. For girls, it was Lemon Twist. This ankle loop toy was simple yet entertaining, giving girls endless hours of hopping and spinning as they competed to see who could jump the longest. It was like a 70s take on modern-day fitness trackers, only way more fun. 1979 wrapped up the decade with the Atari 2600. While the 2600 first hit the market in 1977, it continued to be a must-have Christmas toy in 1979. This wasn't just a toy, it was the gateway to video games. Boys would sit cross-legged for hours, perfecting their skills in Space Invaders and Pac-Man. A joystick and a couple of blocky pixels. Who needed more? And for girls, 1979's hit was Strawberry Shortcake Dolls. With their sweet-scented hair and bright outfits, they weren't just dolls. They were collectibles, each one smelling like a different dessert. Admit it, you can still remember that strawberry scent. Now here it is. The big reveal of the top toy of the 1970s. It was none other than Star Wars action figures. When the movie franchise burst onto the scene in 1977, it didn't just create a fan base. It created a cultural movement. The demand for Star Wars action figures was so high that kids in 1977 even settled for an early bird certificate package, which was basically an IOU for the figures that would arrive later. By 1978 and 1979, Star Wars toys were the most wanted items on Christmas lists everywhere, becoming an empire in their own right. Did you have a favorite Star Wars figure growing up? Or did you wish you could have gotten your hands on one? Let me know in the comments. As always, thank you for watching. See you on the next one.